Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Front Runners Innovate. I'm Mary Curick, your host, and I have with me two co-hosts from the Youth Commons, which is our group of young leaders around the world that actually are making things happen, big things happen. And so we're giving them the opportunity to come and meet some of the front runners that we have that are in the network and some new ones that we're adding to the network and having them do their best work at finding out about them and bringing the information to you. And while at the same time, adding them to their own communities. So this is good stuff. We love it because this is a front runner we've known before that is our special guest. And this is Princess Adewoyin out of Cape Verde. And the two faces that you see that are my co-hosts are Victor George out of the US and Sadiya Murtala. And she is diaspora, but she is from Nigeria, but also living in Scotland right now. I'll have them introduce themselves first, but to know that we are Frontrunners Development that is publishing Frontrunners Innovate, and we're a global business development organization. So Victor George, I'm going to have you come to the microphone first and tell us all about you.
Yes, well, my name is Victor George, and thanks to Mary. I am founder and CEO of Ethixera Consulting and Advisory. So where we provide ethical business consultation, providing businesses from an ethical standpoint, whether it's in anti-money laundering, anti-corruption. And so getting that psychological, helping companies think about how capital is ethics, ethics is capital, and that's us overall in that aspect. So I enjoy it, and we're primarily in the financial service sector, so it's even more impactful for the work that I do, and really enjoy working alongside too with you, Mary. We've worked along on projects on that well too, helping companies spearhead them where they are regulatory, they're compliant, and they have that ethics, and they think it naturally so they can get the capital and revenue and generate and be able to have that agency.
It's so important now to prepare for that sort of thing. And I think a lot of companies, especially small ones that are out there looking for funds, don't realize that in this day and time, you can't just go out there with your hand out. You've got to be prepared. And it's not just a simple matter of getting your data room ready anymore. There's a lot of documentation, especially if you're international. You have to be globally prepared. So that is where this gentleman here comes in. So Sadiya Murtala, please tell us about you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Sadiya Murtala. I lead the WeCan African Development Initiative. I help young people from Africa, but currently across the globe, I'd like to say, to access education internationally. I also run quite a number of skills development programs. And currently, I am even more focused on access to employment for young people. Thank you. And Mary has been such a great help to help us see that these young people transition into work, productive work. So yeah, I'm more than happy to be doing this today. I'm looking forward to the amazing conversations that we'll be having with Princess.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sadiya. I think Sadiya, talks about me like I'm a mentor, but I find out that anytime you're mentoring anybody, they become the mentor to you at some point. So she is lovely. She is such a sweetheart. And I love feeling the energy that comes from all of you that are in my Youth Commons group. So Princess, tell us about the Education Center in Cape Verde and how you got into it. And then we're going to move on to the role that we know that we're talking about mostly today, because you're not new to the front runners. We've talked to you before, but we really are excited about the new thing that's come onto your plate, so to speak. So share with us a little backstory on how you came into the work that you're doing now.
Thank you so much, Mary. Yeah, I'm Princess Adewoyin, the Executive Director of English Development Center. It's a non-governmental organization in Cape Verde, and it is focused on quality and inclusive education for all, regardless of the social status, regardless of the gender, regardless of any economic barrier. And currently, English Development Center has been able to get to the position of being the official representative of British Council in Cape Verde. Bearing in mind that Cape Verde doesn't have a British High Commission or a British Embassy in Cape Verde, so we all know that wherever the British Embassy is represented, there is always a British Council that handles the education aspect of it. So that aspect of the British Council is what the responsibility that English Development Center is assuming. So what we do is we bridge education. We help kids that are in 12th grade or that are transitioning from Cape Verde to England or to any English-speaking country like Canada or US. Will help them to transition very well by giving them all the necessary, support that we could give through teaching of English, because we know that in Cape Verde, our official language is Portuguese. And so Portuguese being the official language, has limited most of these kids from pursuing their education in English-speaking countries. So this is the barrier that we've been able to break so far. And then bringing the British Council to the system helps them to navigate this pathway, because normally before, if you want to go and study in UK, I mean, it's very difficult. You have to do some exams, and the exams, you have to go to another country or to do it, because there is no British embassy in Cape Verde. But now with English Development Center taking the responsibility or the role of British Council in Cape Verde, then the kids can just come to the school and have their exams, get prepared, and just have their certificates. So that is where we are. And it's not just for the 12th grade. We also have for people that want to pursue their masters, their doctorate degrees in UK, US, Canada, and all other English-speaking countries, or even in other countries like maybe Poland, but with courses that are English taught. We can always help them with that. So that is the state that we are at English Development Center. Thank you.
Wow.
Fantastic. Thank you. I'm sure they have questions. I already wrote down one myself, but Victor, you want to start?
Yes, especially Princess, when we met the first time, I have a question for you, especially with the bridging, with education examinations, like how often having that multilingual where I believe, is it Portuguese, the primary language there? How often from a language barrier is Portuguese spoken, or and where English or other languages are there where people are maybe multilingual? And then I have another, I guess, a question for you too after that.
Okay. Well, Cape Verde, we officially we speak Portuguese, but the mother tongue is called Creole. That is it's like a broken English. You know, when we speak broken English in Nigeria, it's like the broken Portuguese. So sort of. So so they speak those two languages. I mean, Creole is almost like Portuguese too. But then bridging the gap is about teaching them to navigate from Portuguese to English or from Creole to English perfectly well. And how we do this is that it's been very challenging, but very, very interesting at the same time. We employ the idea of, or let me just say the service of bilingual education. We use English as a medium of instruction, not just teach English as a language, but as a medium of instruction. Like if you want to learn science, mathematics, and other subjects like that, we use English. Unlike the other schools, the normal schools in Cape Verde that use Portuguese as a medium of instruction, we use English as medium of instruction. And this has been very, very helpful so far. And then beyond that, Creole, like I said, is the pidgin or the broken English, the broken language of Portuguese. Creole, interestingly, is connected somehow with English in the sense that for example, when we talk about grammatically, when we talk about the sentence construction, when we talk about the verb tenses, I find out that all these verb tenses too are being used in Creole. So what we do in class, unlike other schools that we say, don't speak any other language except English, we use the Creole to teach the English grammar and the kids understand. I mean, it's been working wonders, because there are some words, for example, in Portuguese or in Creole that sound the same in English, but they have totally different meaning. So we have to come down to their level, teach them in their language, and let them understand. A perfect example is the word compromise. And they think that compromise is compromisso, and it's not. And sometimes when you Google it, Google will tell you it's compromiso, but it's not, because compromiso is a commitment, a covenant that you have with someone, like a marriage covenant or like something like that. Well, sorry, compromise is our own compromise, what we know. But the compromiso is like you have an appointment with a doctor. So you don't say, teacher, I'm not coming to class tomorrow because I have compromise with my doctor, which most of them use. And they say, I tell them it's not compromise, it is appointment. So these are the things that's why it is really very interesting to use the language, the maternal language of the people to teach English language. And it's been very effective. So that's how we've been able to navigate it.
Yo, that's amazing. I mean, and then first thing I will say too, responding to that, when you say Creole, my first cousin is part Creole, in the United States, because that's a big, language that it's spread that New Orleans area too as well. And
Yeah.
as Mary knows too, with my family, and I shared too, goes back to that Portuguese, area where a great grandfather. But I also do have someone that would I can connect you with that she's a chief internal auditor, but she speaks 4 languages and she's Haitian Creole and speaks
Wow.
Portuguese and does training with
Wow.
in between that. So if
That's
that's a way
interesting.
to support or any other ways to support your initiatives with students there, she trains as well too. So
Wow, I wouldn't mind that. That's very, very great. Thank you so
yeah.
much, Victor. I really
And I
appreciate
just
that.
spoke about yesterday to it. It was like I said, it was just stars were just all aligning. And she's like, "Oh, I speak Creole, I speak Portuguese," and I thought of you
Wow.
immediately because of that
Wow.
conversation you and I have had when you and Mary spoke.
Yes,
So I
yes,
need to connect you all on that.
yes. And you don't speak Creole. You don't speak Portuguese, right?
No, no,
No.
no. If that's close to the Portuguese, I could say probably yeah, that's it. But no, no
Okay.
Portuguese.
Did you have
Yeah.
a follow-up question, Victor, or was you want?
That was part of, I guess, the comment
Okay,
follow-up question,
all
but that's
right,
that's it for me.
very
But yeah,
good.
yeah.
Sadiya, I know that a lot of this resonates with you.
It does.
So,
It
yeah.
does. Yeah, I think I've got 2 questions to start with, but really well done for the work that you're doing. Very important work. I see it as, a bridge to access to education for
Yes.
for young people. So it's really great work. Because you mentioned you're the CEO, I am very curious to know what's your connection with the work you do. So I
Okay.
got any personal
Yes.
experience. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Of course, being an executive director, I teach too because I love teaching. It's my passion. It's not just having the title of the executive. I'm involved in the activities. I mean, I still thought today I finished teaching and 30 minutes later I'm here, which is speaking online. And yes, I had to rush down from school here. So of course I teach. I teach very well because I love teaching. And beyond that, beyond the teaching, I don't know if Victor can remember, but the last time we spoke, I spoke about the fact that also a co-founder of International Human Rights Movement in Cape Verde. It's a non-governmental organization that defends, supports, and fights for the rights of the people. So with this, these are my 2 passions, education and then defending the rights of the people. By the way, I just got my doctorate degree in gender and human rights from Harvard Heritage University, and I'll be having my graduation on Saturday, by the way.
Congratulations.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
congratulations.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. So this aspect, Shadia, this aspect of the fighting for the rights of the people has birthed a passion in me in such that kids with neurodiverse kids with special needs, whatever name we want to call them, and have been a thing of concern for me over the years, in the sense that we talk about social inclusion, but we don't include them in our educational system, especially in Africa. And Cape Verde is not an exception. As much as Cape Verde appears to be one of the best in Africa where education is concerned, the barrier is still there. So what do we do regularly? What we do normally is that we already have a system, and then we try to integrate these kids into the system that is existing. But it doesn't work for them because their own style of studying is totally different from the existing system that we have created. So when we talk about social inclusion, it's about recreating a new curriculum structure, which Mary is aware, which we developed at English Development Center like 2 years ago. We developed a new curriculum structure which talks about bridging the gap using gap. Bridging the gap, the first gap talks about the barrier. Using gap is an acronym for games, arts, and play. And this is what we use at English Development Center for these kids to teach all subjects. And interestingly, we found out that these kids that people assume that they are not intelligent or they are laid back, they're actually grabbing it. They love this new system, this new curriculum system, and it's really working for them. They're intelligent, they are picking all the subjects. And even the neurotypical kids, the ones we call the normal kids, they love it too. And so everyone is learning at the same pace, and we are having the good results. So why don't we just inculcate what is working and create this new curriculum system? I mean, we've registered it with the intellectual property in Cape Verde, and it is something that we started introducing into the Ministry of Education here in Cape Verde. So we are about to launch it on a big level from our small school to the entire country. So Sadiya, it's not just about my involvement is beyond just being an executive director. I teach, I participate, I know about it. I mean, it's my calling. This is what I enjoy doing. And so this is where the human rights aspect of me comes in to education.
Problem
I hope
solver.
I've been able to answer your questions.
I mean, that's great. I'm just
Thank
happy
you.
that it's bettered from a place of passion of concerning human rights. You know, I
Absolutely.
wanted to know if you've had like a personal experience regarding access to education and if that's why you're working, but it's good to know that it's a passion within human rights. And I did hear you, and please correct me, that the work you do concerning ensuring that people are able to get the English language to be able to access the international education. It's beyond Cape Verde. It's not just, so it's beyond. So I'm just thinking right now, how do you get access? How you be able to access other students outside Cape Verde?
Well,
What's that like just now for you? And yeah.
I mean, the world has gone technological. I mean, technology is working everywhere. Prior to this status, we started our school. We started the English Development Center actually started on the premise of online classes. You know, that we started during the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. And at that time, a lot of schools were closing up in Cape Verde. But we decided to go online so that we could get our kids together from the comfort of their houses, and then we start teaching. So we started with that. But with time, it blew up from just the four shores of Cape Verde, and we had other people coming from other countries. I mean, I could remember we had students from Pakistan, from far north. Yes, we had lots of students. Wow. I could remember at that time we had a student from Pakistan, from Angola, from African countries, from different parts of the continent. And so we've been able to maintain this pace over the years. We have some students from Portugal. They started with us in Cape Verde. The couple relocated to Portugal, and they still continue to have their classes online. I mean, so because of this, we already have the platform already, which is the online classes. And with that, we have students too. Of course, we are online. We have our websites. We have everything, and people have access to that. And beyond that, if you go to the British Council official platform too, and you seek for registered schools that are British Council agents and counselors or agencies, you will find the name of English Development Center there. So it's very, very traceable and easy for kids, you know, from the British Council platform to also trace us. So that's it.
Wow, this is so good. And maybe before just hand, I would say I work with young people currently now in London, and they are from underrepresented background, and then among those young people we have people who come from several countries. Think about Sudan, and all of that. And also we're always looking for referrals for them to get into, English courses and all. But I think this is great. the work you do is important to the work that I do, and it's such an important work, especially if you work with international young people. So yeah,
Thank you so much.
I would
Thank
definitely
you.
reach out and yeah.
Thank
Well,
you.
Sadiya, Princess is originally from Nigeria, correct? Princess, you and your
Yes,
husband
of
came
course.
over. I don't know when,
Yes.
but so she shares that, the birthplace with you. But I think that she is more than what you see right there. Princess, why don't you talk just a little bit before we go back to Victor about the other things that you've done or do that surround the English Development Center? I mean, because you've been doing a lot of documentation, translation, and that sort of thing over the years that I've known you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Also, like Mary said, we work with, we use the school as a medium for ESL, that is English as second language. And sometimes, of course, most times we don't just teach, we also deal with documents, we translate documents from, primarily because we're in Cape Verde, we translate documents from Portuguese to English, we do from French to English. I mean, we do from various languages because the experience with Portuguese has helped us with other languages too. So official documents like the transcript, the school, because when the students will have to travel to London or US, for example, it must be translated to English for them to be able to understand their certificates and their transcripts. So we do all these stuffs. Also we do for organizations. I mean, we translate documents for multinationals and stuff like that. So this is also part of what we do. We do translations of documents. We teach people, we prepare people for TOEFL, the test of English for foreign languages, for IELTS, for Duolingo English test, and for other English tests too. And of course, we also represent, because we represent the British Council, we are able to deal with some other tests like the Cambridge test, English test, to help the kids. So this is part of what we do.
Okay, Mary, before you come in, please, could you share how people can connect with you, with your work you do, to be able to connect with the work you do? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How do
Of
we
course.
connect? Yeah.
Of course, there are several ways you can connect with me. My name
Yeah.
is Princess Adewoyin, so you can always search for Princess Adewoyin on LinkedIn.
And your work, your organization, when people want to come.
Then we have the English Development Center, and
Okay.
then English Development Center, Cape Verde. And then we also have the International Human Rights Movement, Cape Verde.
Okay. This is great work.
Thank you. Thank you so much, again.
Yeah, we will drop the links in with the details of this interview too. So you'll have that on the YouTube video and where we place it. So Victor, back at you. So anything else you'd like to follow up with?
Yes. Yes, I do. I do. Now, because of my work on anti-money laundering and the private side, and as well as with the advisory on the government side, I want to ask you, like, what are you currently or have in the past position with partnering with private companies on the private side, whether it be banking, finance, because these entities either they can be enhancing money laundering, trafficking, if there are controls on around. And then for the governance standpoint, they're if they don't have the correct requirements for private enterprises to do what it is they're supposed to do, where it comes to transaction money, especially on digital assets. Like, what has that been that work with you partnering on the private side, and on the public side too, for those?
Excellent. Actually, I was expecting that question from you, Victor.
Yeah. Yes.
I was sincerely expecting the question from you based on our last discussion. Well, when it comes to the private sector, let me deal with the private sector first. International human rights deals with that. Of course, we do a form of checks and balances to see what is actually going on, because we work from a distance, and at the same time we work inside within to audit and be sure that everything is going on well. And like I told you the other time, we talked about Follow the Money. Follow the Money is an organization that I represent here in Cape Verde, And what we do is, of course, we do check, like the name is, follow the money, you know. It's to check and to see, to ensure that everything is being, especially when it comes to the government aspect of it, ensuring that the allocations, the funds, the government public funds are used for the purpose it was sent, or for the purpose it is meant to be, because sometimes they are diverted into some other personal goals and aspirations, especially now that we are in election period. We've had one election, and at the end of the year in November, we're going to have the presidential election too. So we have all these stuff, and sometimes such funds are diverted into, you know, propaganda and you know, and all those campaigns and stuff like that. This is where we come in. And of course, we also work closely with the National Human Rights Commission of Cape Verde. We are the International Human Rights Movement. So we work with them. You know, sometimes the United Nations asks for, you know, the audits of the funds they give to know how it is duly spent. So we go there and we sit with them, we check through to ensure that what is written is actually the reality, because we live here, so we see and we know, because sometimes you could fabricate some stories and create something around the fund. But we ensure that what is being written is what is being experienced. So that is how we work and ensure that all the stuffs are in the right places.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah. And yeah, because like you said too, with, you know, follow the money, that's one of the larger you know, organizations when it comes to corrupt controls around anti-money
Exactly.
laundering, and you know, corruption, bribery. So yeah, when you said that, I was like, oh, because first you're like, oh, you know, public, your work is very ethics and driven in public community. But I was like, oh,
Yeah.
private enterprise right there. That's also there. So no, absolutely. So yeah, that's yeah.
Thank
Amazing work.
you. Thank you.
Sadiya, do you have another question? You look like you might. Another comment? Oh, you're on mute, I guess. Yeah.
Oh no, okay. I mean, just with every organization, there's always, you know, we've got quite a few challenge. You know, it will always come with the work. It will be interesting to know what are the challenges you're working on. That has been like a challenge to the work that you're doing, and what would support look like for you as well? Because we never know what this is going out to the world. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, like you said, there's always a challenge for every organization. The first thing is the first challenge is, you know, always, there will always be, you should have competing organizations too. And most times, these competing organizations are born out of the fact that, because we've had situations where other people come to us, organization, you're international human rights movement, blah, blah, blah. How do you get your funds? The first thing is just about fund. It's about money. How do you get money? How can you support us? Can you do stuff like that? And then they find out that, yes, we need money, but then we work and then they withdraw. So, you know, and then considering the fact that these organizations are from citizens of the country, Cape Verdeans. But like Mary told you earlier on, I'm a Nigerian, first a Nigerian, and then in the process of becoming a Cape Verdean. You know, this is like, you know, you are going to put double efforts to your responsibilities and to your work to get to a particular level where they are. So this is the competition. This is the challenge. But it's a challenge, not a problem. We always focus on our work. We don't listen to the noises. I mean, we don't listen to the noise around us. We always focus on our work. We do what we're meant to do. We just keep going. Sometimes we ask for support. We don't get support. Sometimes because we are always, you know, monitoring, they follow the money and stuff like that. You get some people that attacks you, you know, and some certain people attack you and then they don't like what you do. And then they try to block you or do stuff. But it doesn't matter. We keep moving on. We just keep moving on. These are the challenges that we face. And sometimes also to do stuff like creating a platform for the poor people, the neurodiverse people, it involves fund. And most of the times, in fact, if not all the time, the funds we get are outside of the country. We don't get support from within the country, because when we ask, they're like, no, because you are a foreigner. And they see, yes, they see like you've come to take from our land, you've come to, rather than seeing the value that you add. So that is part of it. But beyond that, we keep moving, and God has been our help. We've always gotten support. We've always gotten help. There have always been solutions. Whatever we put our mind to, when we do it, it's always successful.
And that's why too I want to add this where I want to connect you with Charles Sebin, because so much work, as you're saying, goes to the controls, the monitoring, and then now with the current environment where accusations could be from U.S. International, like, what are you doing with the money? Are you not doing this right? Are you not? And as you mentioned, today and previously, you put a lot of work in the compliance and to the auditing, to the review. And so having that conversation publicly too, the work that in the background of that is so important. So those assumptions are negative assumptions aren't being made out there. So yeah, it's so I definitely want to connect with it too, because that's it's a lot of work to do that alongside and still doing the good thing in the community. That generally you see people on the other side of it, but it's
Really, I really appreciate that. Thank you, Victor.
So, Princess, I'll probably wind us up here with one more question, though, about the British embassy consulate that you've got going on there. What do you see in the coming year that's going to be the impact that's going to make for you, for the area that you're serving there, and for the youth or the students that are probably going to make use of the services that you're going to provide there? So if you could talk a little bit about that, what do you see coming? What kind of services and what kind of impact do you see it being able to make?
I see great impact in the lives of these people, because this time last year, we were not at this status. We didn't have this status. And between November last year and now, we've seen a lot of things. We've been able to break barriers for these kids. I mean, we've had situations. We even had one kid that was autistic, is still autistic anyway, and he came out of the 12th grade with a very low grade, and he was rejected in several schools in Portugal, in Spain, and all the stuff. So when he came to us, and the mom brought him to us, that she wanted him to go and study in London, I was like, God, this is a miracle that you have to perform yourself. First, the child is autistic, and then secondly, for the fact that he had a very terrible grade. But I summoned courage, and we started teaching him. When we started teaching, it was challenging initially, but then we had to come down to his level and understand his own way of learning. That's what we call social inclusion. And so we started using that to teach him. And Mary, he did the IELTS test, and normally he was supposed to have 5.5 out of 8. He had 7.5 out of 8. I mean, that's the best.
Wow.
I've never seen anybody have 8 out of 8. I mean, even as a teacher, I'm not sure we can have it. He had 7.5 out of 8. And then when his result was posted on the UCAS platform, that is a general platform for undergraduate studies in UK, the Cambridge University got in touch with his mom and asked that he should come. And currently, to cut the long story short, currently he's studying in Cambridge University. He's studying cybersecurity and stuff like that. So, I mean, so this kind of testimonies boost one's morale to do more. So, I mean, and of course, we already have some other students currently going to the UK, some other people going to Hungary, but English taught, and other countries of their choice, but English taught courses. And they've been able to navigate through, and this success story is what motivates us to do more. So, of course, I see impact, I see change, I see breaking of barriers, and I see opening the doors for Cape Verdean community to the world, for the world to know their talents. I mean, Cape Verdeans are really talented, but that English barrier has been an obstruction for them to be known globally. And now we're breaking that barrier.
Wow, this is so good. Mary, can I come in a little bit, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Great work. I promise you.
you.
I was just thinking when you just spoke on the English test, beyond the fact that some students might not be able to speak English, which is actually the barrier you're working on, there's also another case of them not being able to afford the fee that comes with the English test. Yes, so I don't know.
Yes.
Do you have any work around that as well? Yeah.
Well, this is a very good question. So affording the fee of the English test. I mean, there are several tests.
Yeah.
I always tell the students, where do you want to go to? What are the requirements? But the only thing is that most of them talk about TOEFL, IELTS, because that is the most popular. But there's some other tests. I mean, there is Duolingo English test. Why TOEFL we charge 200 euros, IELTS we charge like 300 euros. I mean, this Duolingo English test we charge $60. So why don't they go for something cheaper? And then even at English Development Center, we also have an harmonized test we have designed with Cambridge Assessment English that we also conduct for the students too. If the schools they are going to is not strictly requiring TOEFL and IELTS, they can always take this test with us. And once they have the test and it is verified, and then we give them their certificates and they go. I mean, a lot of people have gone through this harmonized test I'm talking about. I mean, even at the ministry level, I mean, people from the Ministry of Finance, I'm not even talking about kids now, people from the Ministry of Finance, from the government that would want to go and do a course or something like that in other countries, in Japan, and they need English and they need a certification. They come to us and we train them and we prepare the certifications too. So, and we make it easy and cheaper because, of course, we are a non-governmental organization and we're looking for how to break the barriers. So that's the solution to that.
I like that. Can I come in one last time? I promise, Mary.
Yes.
Thank you. So I was just thinking of myself years back when I was
Okay.
trying to get study abroad. And then, the particular school, which I would not mention, they had like the English test they want you to write. I know
Okay.
ELT among it and TOEFL. And
Okay.
I can't remember if they had any other English test they wanted. So in a situation where a school says, oh, we just want you to obtain either this or this. And for me, then I don't have the money to afford that. I'm just thinking just now, I don't know if in the future, it's something you might want to think of with, with
Yeah.
your organization. If as a non-governmental organization, if there could be a fund set aside for one young boy or one young girl somewhere who might not be able to afford even the money you're charging them, they can't afford it. And that might also be an extra barrier to them getting access to education. Yeah, I'm just thinking, at that time for me, I'm like, oh, how do I navigate that for myself? But I was so lucky that when I finally got a scholarship, the scholarship paid for my TOEFL. That was my luck.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a very good one. But I want you to know that it's not something we're even
I don't know if it's me, but I think I've lost Princess.
Yep, we've got a froze. We've got a froze.
It went well for so far. It was
considering for the future. At English Development Center, we have
There we go.
kids from miserably poor communities of the world, of Cape Verde, poor homes and poor regions like that.
Princess,
Can you hear me?
now we can hear you at some
Yeah,
point.
you froze up a little bit, Princess. So back up and answer. Yeah, go ahead. Back up your answer to what she asked you. Okay.
I said even now we still have the opportunity of navigating through that. We've been able to design, so because we serve the poor people, we serve kids from, I mean, miserably poor homes of Cape Verde. We ensure that they can have access to English because language is expensive. Language is very, very expensive for them. It's not even accessible for them. So for this kind of kids, we already have something we do. What we do is they come to the school. We don't charge anything because we charge other people to foot the bills of these people and the teachers too. So we don't charge, we charge nothing. They do the test, they do IELTS certification tests too. And then they go. I mean, the scholarships you're talking about, for so far, the scholarships we'll be able to get for the students are people from poor homes. I mean, totally poor homes, miserably. I don't like to use the word, but that is it. I mean, miserably poor homes. And I mean, one of them is traveling to Hungary in September. She was so happy, everything paid for, the flight, the ticket, the food, the health insurance, and she will be given monthly stipends for studying. I mean, it was something we did for them. So we always look for opportunities. And Shadia, sometimes we tell them, why do you want to go to the school? If it's an expensive school, if it doesn't have scholarships to give, if it's strictly bent on TOEFL and IELTS, that's when we come in as British Council, because we are British Council agents and counselors. So we counsel them and tell them other options, better options that they can, look into. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Mhm. You're on mute.
Sadiya?
Yeah, Sadiya, you're on mute. Yeah.
I just say definitely, yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
All
okay,
right.
great.
This is good. I guess we need to let you get back to teaching here in a minute, but final words from you, Princess. Any final words to tell us what's going on from here forward? Anything new that other than what you've already got on your plate that we should know about?
Okay, well, currently we're working with some centers. They call them Centro de Dia. It's a place where they take care of kids, where homeless kids or kids from abusive families, And currently we have the kids, we have like 70 kids in that center. And of course, English Development Center is a partner to them. Of course, we go there, educate them about human rights, because they need to know about human rights, how to respect one another, how to respect themselves, how to not allow their bodies to be used, because some of them, they actually had to leave that place, their homes, to come there because there were some kids, some girls have been abused by their fathers, some girls have been abused by their cousins, so we teach them things like that, and then we also teach English. So that's the new project, and we're actually looking for funds to help. They cannot afford sanitary towels, to buy, and it's a monthly obligation of a girl. It's a responsibility. So we're working on that, getting pads for them. The food aspect of it has been taken care of, but that aspect, me being into gender and human rights, I'm really looking into that aspect too. So that is what we are doing currently.
So tell us about the sanitary pads that you're needing for the homeless or the orphans.
For the girls, and it's a center for girls from 6 to 21 years. We have some from 6. So for the girls that have started with the menstruating and stuff like that, we were looking up to getting pads for them. If it is possible, I've heard about menstrual cup. I've not seen it before, and I learned that it is reusable.
They
I've
are.
not seen, but I would prefer that, other than the disposable pads, so that it is something that they will use for a certain period of time, and then we get more. So that is the aspect we are really looking into investing, and we need support from everywhere.
Do you have a source for that? Because if you don't, I do. for the cups.
I'll be happy.
Yeah, she's a front runner. The woman that she's a front runner. So I'll see what I can do to get you connected with her. So that's fantastic. You do such great work, Princess, and I don't know how you do it, but God bless you for being all the work that you're doing. And Victor, any final words from you?
Oh, well, I thought, like I said, Mary, and share with Princess, you're doing a lot of great work as far as, with building education, and the compliance and regulatory work, both sides. I don't know how you sleep.
He's got it.
I don't know how you sleep.
I do sleep. I do. I sleep, and I sleep soundly.
I reckon you do. I reckon you do. Miss Sadiya, do you have any final words? I think we lost your video and maybe your audio too.
Yeah, I'm just going to say good work, well done. And we are watching, and I'm sure you've got a lot of people who are more than happy to come into the work you do to support. here, but well done. You're doing great work, and I just have good hope and prayers that you would get all the support you need and beyond. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much, Mary, for making this possible, and thank you, Victor, also for joining. Really appreciate as well.
Fantastic. Thank you,
Yes, yes.
everybody. We appreciate it. And this will be bye for now. Take
All
care.
right.
Bye. Bye.